please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries 5-0. Thank you, and my apologies to the audience. We got hung up a little bit in the closed session, so we're starting a few minutes late. Let's see, with regard to tonight's meeting, it is being digitally recorded. I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And then we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Dr. Lynn tonight.
Please stand, face the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. Next item on our agenda, number 9, is announcement of actions taken in closed session. Announcements made, we took no action. And item 10, special recognition/presentation. That's basically a placeholder. We don't have anything about it. So with that, we'll move on to public comment on agendized and non-agendized items. I do have several requests here. And the first is from Emily Williams, who wants to speak about considering sharing the cost of the theater rental for the musical. Emily?
Good evening, members of the board and district officials. Thank you. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Temple City Schools Foundation. I am Emily Williams. I am the grants chairman for the Temple City Schools Foundation, but I also have a very long personal history with the Temple City Unified School District. I live in and was born in the house built by my great-grandfather here in Temple City. And so to say that I think I'm one of the few actually born in Temple City as my place of birth. And having gone through the schools and now raising my own son who's a 8th grader at Oak, it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And speaking on behalf of the foundation, we have several goals that we're hopeful for. Over the years, when I first came into the Temple City Schools Foundation, there was rather a contentious relationship between the district and the foundation. And over the years, we tried to work really hard to build the reputation of the Temple City Schools Foundation, but we're really hopeful that we can build a stronger partnership with the district as well. Mr. Nolenberger is great because he comes to all of our meetings and always helps represent you well, and we're hopeful that we can find different ways to partner together. And so one of those ways that we were hoping to reach out to you is in talking about equity within our performing arts programs. The performing arts in Temple City is incredible. I happen to also be a teacher in South Pasadena, and one of the main reasons that my own son doesn't go to my school district is because of certainly how amazing I know that the Temple City schools are, but because his passion is the performing arts. And the programs that Temple City offers are just remarkable. And so I know that rather than sending him to Loxa or some of these other schools where performing arts can be an even higher focus, Temple City really does an incredible job of incorporating that. One of the things that we struggle with, though, is in the inclusion of where our performing arts spaces are. We have a number of multi-purpose spaces, the multi-purpose rooms on the different campuses, which I think often have a whole lot of multi and sometimes less purpose in trying to facilitate for a performing arts space. But specifically for the programs that our high school groups are working with. We have our Christmas concert, our holiday winter concert, our dance concert, as well as the musical, which is an incredible undertaking and an amazing feat. And having been on the stage from the student aspect for those performing pieces as well, the St. Gabriel Mission Playhouse is such an incredible venue. But we are there because we don't have a performing arts space, which we know is still written into the bond measure, but is sadly likely to not have the funding to actually build. We also recognize that our sports teams have a number of amazing, some of them in the works, some being built, venues for their sports programs, but while they have their different, the ramrodders and the different groups helping to raise funds for them, rarely do you see any of the actual coaches out there trying to sell candy to help fundraise for their field or for their stadium or for, repainting bleachers or things like that. Whereas the advisors and the students for the performing arts pieces specifically have to do a lot of fundraising for that. We also see them at our Temple City Schools Foundation meetings year after year requesting grants so that they can have a venue for these amazing performances. So our proposal is that the Temple City Schools Foundation would like to partner with the district to share the cost of funding the 3 specific performances that are held at the San Gabriel Mission Playhouse. And the total cost typically runs in the range of $54,000. So splitting that would be $27,000 each. We know that that's about 0.1% of your overall budget, but we would love to open that conversation. We recognize it would have to be a future agenda item. However, we also see that on the agenda, there's discussion to possibly approve making March the Arts Month, and so that seems like a perfect timing. So we would love to open up that door to build that partnership and to look at sharing the cost of funding between the Schools Foundation and the district to help fund these programs so that they don't have to literally have a bake sale to be able to have a space to perform in. So we appreciate your time, and on behalf of the Schools Foundation, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. The next request is from Jeff Garner, who wants to speak about the school security camera and Billy Blues. Jeff? Not here?
Can I defer to item 21?
Certainly, you'd rather wait till then, that's fine. Okay, the next person is Rachel Lasetto, who also wants to speak about item 21.
Can I defer for item 21, and I believe I have 23 before that.
That's the next one. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is district updates. We'll start first with business services. Mary Ann.
Good evening. Just a few quick updates. The first is there's a lot of interest in the marquee at the high school. It was supposed to have been delivered last week, but there was a manufacturing issue. They sent us an email late this afternoon that they're expecting it to be available next week. Every other year, we do a review of all sites through our insurance carrier, and the focus is on workers' comp, property, and liability. That's what they're looking at when they come out. They've just finished all 7 sites, 8 including the district office. I'm still waiting for 3 reports to come back. The 5 that are in look very good. Once I have all of them, I'll put a schedule together of any findings that we have, and then facility services will address those. The last one is a quick update on the bond. For the high school, 1B, the electrical and plumbing roof is done at the new pool building. The new roof and flashing are complete also at the pool building. There was a little bit of a delay from all the rain that we've had. The chain link fabrication and installation has begun at the softball backstop. Longview Elementary, the project is complete. We have some minor things that we're finishing. And Cloverly and La Rosa, the storefront windows have been installed at La Rosa Phase 1, and new walls are being taped and primed in Phase 1 of La Rosa as well. The acoustic ceilings will begin on February 15th. And at Cloverly, the electrical panel is installed, and the new fire alarm will be completed by 2:15. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mary Ann. The next item is educational services to be covered by Dr. Monica Makowitz, and you're going to be covering personnel as well tonight.
Yes. First, I would like to thank our arts Tcusd, Diane Ching-Ho, for taking 10 of our female students to Engaging Girls in STEAM at the Arboretum in Arcadia today. They had a chance to meet women in the STEM industry, take part in exhibits and activities, so that was a great event for our kids today. Also, as a department, we're working on our ELD plan, what our ELD program looks like and what resources we need. We finished our iReady testing window, which is a resource to help us see where our gaps are in terms of reading and math. We are running IEP training for admin and union reps coming up in the next few weeks. And we are prepping for our March 18th Staff Development Day. I would also like to thank all of these sites for updating their safety plans and turning them into Sarah and student support. can I go on to personnel?
Please.
Okay, so personnel, I have to thank the school sites in the union. We had an athletic committee meeting to look at policies to help encourage on-campus coaches, just to look at how we bus students and how we take a look at facilities. So meeting with the site on that with the high school and different reps, it was great to get input to move forward. We also met as a team to look at our stipends, to see if they're competitive with other districts, to see what we're could add or take away. A survey is going out to principals and teachers to see if we need to expand that list. But I would like to thank the committee for their work on that. And in the months ahead, we will be looking at staffing for next year and position control.
Great. Thank you, Monica. And with that, we'll move on to bargaining unit comments, first starting with TCEA, and I do not see Ellen out there. Oh,
I'm not, no, thank you.
okay, so sorry. Thank you. Moving on to CSEA 105, Robin Penn. Robin, thank you.
Nothing.
And CSEA 823, Jesse. No? Okay, thank you. So with that, we'll move on to board member comments. Eileen, what do you have for us tonight?
Good evening, everyone. Just a few quick updates. So just earlier today, we did have our TCHS ASB joint board meeting with the district where we did provide a few updates about what ASB has been doing throughout the year. Also, this past Saturday, we had the ASB exchange with the San Marino ASB where we gathered information about what their ASB did and how we can improve our ASB and incorporate some of their ideas. And we had another ASB exchange today with Oak Avenue's ASB where we talked to the middle schoolers, see how they ran their ASB, had some pizza, had some donuts, and we tried to encourage the freshmen on joining ASB next year. And more stuff today. The auditors did come today. We won't know the results of the audit until later. Oak also has gotten their minutes and expenditures audited recently as well. And on top of that, we are working on Camellia Festival. Temple City ASB will be hosting a booth, and we're working on collecting camellias for the float that holds the Royal Court, the first graders. We have a Chipotle dine out on February 16th from 4 to 8 at the Chipotle Rosemead dine out. There is one single flyer in the back if anyone is interested. And just some few ongoing things right now. We are working on a donation policy. We're scheming up some ideas for a donation board policy about how our clubs at school that want to donate their funds to third-party organizations can do that. So we're thinking of putting some standards, guidelines that we can propose to the board and put on a potential agenda later in the future, as well as we're looking into a situation with the bike racks because our bike racks currently at Temple City High School are concentrated in one area and they're just a bunch of cement blocks and they're kind of an eyesore and they're inefficient and inconvenient for the students. So we're looking at different locations and different ways of relocating. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Great. Great, thank you, Eileen. Moving on to board member comments, we'll start tonight with member Georgina. Donna?
Thank you. I attended the new board member training on January 25th and 26th. Got a lot of great information. One of the things I wanted to bring up to my colleagues, there was a discussion regarding board self-evaluations, and I know that's in our policies. I don't know what's been done in the past, but I think it's something that everybody should be thinking about. And later on this year, we can talk about it after we've been aboard for a while, and then we can start planning our evaluation. CSBA does have a program where they provide you with a self-evaluation survey. They compile the results, and then they can either have someone come out and facilitate a discussion about it, or they can give you questions so that you can self-facilitate. But and I'm sure there's other options too, but that's something we all need to be thinking about so we can make sure we fulfill our requirement to do a self-evaluation. I attended this reception for our new superintendent, and I wanted to thank the staff. They did a great job with that. I think that the community really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to meet Dr. Fricker, so thank you very much. I also attended the dance concert, and as usual, it's very enjoyable. It's amazing how many talented students we have in our district. And I also attended the ad hoc meeting with the city of Temple City. Unfortunately, Councilmember Chavez was unable to attend, he was sick. So we didn't make any kind of firm decisions, but it was just kind of a general meet and greet, and decided that we're going to meet quarterly. But the general consensus coming out of the meeting was that the school district and the city do want to try to collaborate and work as closely together for the betterment of the community. So I'm looking forward to those future meetings. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Donna. And I'm going to go ahead and go next. I'd like to echo Donna's comments about the superintendent introductions, what I'm calling it, that we had on January 30th. It was a great turnout from the community, and I hope everybody had a good chance to get to talk to Dr. Fricker and meet her and find out more. She made an excellent presentation about her background and some of the highlights, and that was very nice. And kudos to the staff that put that on as well. And like Donna, I also had an opportunity to attend the Temple City High School dance concert on February 1st. Wonderful as always. It's always great to see those things. Couple hours plus good entertainment. Let's see, coming up on the 16th, I'm going to be attending the Temple City Amateur Softball Association, which is girls softball opening ceremony. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and meeting them. I don't have any daughters, so I've never been to one before. So we'll see what it's like. And then I'm looking forward to attending the Golden Apple Award ceremony on February 20th. And I was told it's okay to share that Teresa Wong from our district is being honored, so very pleased with that and wish her well. And then PTA has its annual Founders Day dinner. It's the big thing for PTA coming up on the 21st. Let's see, on the 22nd, Temple City National League, you can tell what time of year it is, Temple City National League, we have their opening ceremony. So I'm gonna get a chance to run out there and say hello to all of them. I'm looking forward to the 26th of February. William Mann will be doing the State of the City address, so I expect that'll go well as well. And with that, I'll move on to Member Norris. Ken?
It's just some general ones. I was fortunate enough to attend the Chinese New Year celebration, which was postponed a week because of rain. And there was a state legislature present, Mrs. Rubio, and I got to meet her, and along with the city, three of the city and city council members. Also, Mr. Yu indicated that one of the things we might want to discuss with the city is the possibility of parking, since we have so much excess. And they are open to the idea that if we have a big meeting once a month or whatever it is, that we maybe restrict the parking that day, that one day or something. So it's kind of open-ended right now with negotiations, but it's something that the district office can look into maybe to see whether it's worthwhile to negotiate with them. Wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, which is coming up on the 14th. Let's see, I also attended the Temple City School and Temple City Supervisors meeting, and most of it was introductions of the key players, and as pointed out, Tom was not there. So nothing much happened, but one of the things that raised the issue of is if you go to any of the schools after dark, you see how dark it is on the streets. So anybody that parks on the streets that goes to a function has a rather difficult time. But the city has a real problem with lighting only because it costs so much money to put it in. And so one of the proposals might be is the Safe Routes to Schools, which we participated in it 3 or 4 years ago. They put in curbs and some signs. The grant was rather expensive, $300,000 plus, $340,000, I think. But we'd have to have either some of the students probably participate late at night, either as a babysitting service, whether their parents are going to night school or not, or whether we have classes for children late at night. There's something to think about. We also had the Temple City School Association here at 5 o'clock, and they went over some of the things that they have accomplished. They've accomplished quite a few things, of which one of the things is fundraisers, which seems like the problem with everybody has, is fundraising. The issue of the Mission Playhouse keeps coming up. And the thing is, I think we could probably look at, since the projects are all things that the school supports, that we look at maybe at some later date, we look at the idea of being able to supply some additional funds to the different facilities that use it. But first, we need a detailed breakdown of what the costs really are of the Mission Playhouse for the 3 functions that are listed, which is the dance, the Christmas show, and the play that's coming up. Also, the Kiwanis is selling tickets for their Community Day breakfast at $7 a throw, which is a good deal. And I don't know, did you have tickets, I assume?
I forgot to bring them.
Oh. And other people have tickets, and so you can buy your tickets anytime now. I'm gonna buy them a couple while at the Chinese New Year's. This was, Marston was selling tickets. And then, one of the things that we're looking at, I guess, and this is for the city, is a library across the street is a county library. And the city really only has control over the children's portion of the library. And it's raised some extra money just to do kind of an entranceway, of which the county has allowed our people, the city's people, to come up with ideas of how to do it. And hopefully that's something that will continue on with the library. And it's something that maybe we should be looking at. They haven't got a firm date of when it's gonna close, nor a firm date of how they're going to continue the library service. And, let's see. That's it.
Great, thank you, Ken.
All right.
Moving on to Member Marston, Larry.
Well, to save some time, I'll echo with what most of you have said. I appreciate that you're going to all these events. I'm out of town a lot more this year than I ever have been, so that you all can pick up the slack and represent us is very good. In addition to that, I just want to congratulate this year's honorary service award recipients. Your dedication to the district is very much appreciated. And I know it's a lot of hard work. And Temple City's lucky to have so many parents and families that are so willing to put in that hard work for the schools. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Larry. And then moving on to Dr. Lynn, Mike, what do you have for?
Yeah, and I want to echo what you said. Everybody said. One of the highlights in Dr. Fricker's reception was watching the video of the students from each of the schools. And, they were so happy that you're on board. We're also very happy that you're on board. And thank you to the staff that put that reception together. Donna mentioned earlier, Donna and I attended the 2-day CSBA training in San Diego. One of the highlights I took away was the roles and responsibilities of individual school board members, actually not just individual school board members, but what the school board collectively are responsible for, but individual school board members are significantly limited in authority. I'm saying this to the public mainly because one of the questions I got after the election season was, what are you going to do in the first 100 days? Okay, I think I know enough about this, but I can only operate through my fellow board members as holding the collective responsibility of the school board. So this is not the presidency. In case anybody out there is interested in being a future school board member. And the training really helped validate my feelings and thoughts initially about what what the school board collectively is responsible for, but individual school board members do not have any authority. But another highlight I took away, other than student learning, school law, personnel, was the finance unit presented by John Gray, the president of School Services of California. He was phenomenal, very funny guy. So funny to the point where I'm thinking, okay, I'm so happy I have signed up for the Masters in Governance program that he's going to be he's going to be another presenter. So finance was one of the key things when I went to San Francisco for the CSBA conference with Matt in November. Pretty much every board member who finished the Masters in Governance, these are the veterans, they said it was the finance that was the most important. So I think it's important. Finance is keeping the district solvent, and it's very one of those key items that I took away from that training, two-day training. Finally, happy belated Lunar New Year. It is now, we're currently in the year of the pig, and looking forward, happy Valentine's. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mike. So now we'll move on to the superintendent's comments. Yep.
Thank you very much. Forgive me, I'm a little hoarse this evening, so I'll try to keep my comments brief. I just want to thank the board and also the district office staff for putting on the wonderful reception a few weeks ago. We had a great time meeting and greeting everybody. It was a great kind of segue into the district and getting to know all of you, so thank you very much. I also want to thank the district office staff. They are knee-deep in the planning for the 2019-20 school year. So they are doing their annual plan and 3-year plans, and we're going to be reviewing those and presenting those to the board in the coming months. And then I also wanted to thank the Temple City High School ASB. What a treat they got to present to us today on the athletic and the activity side of the high school, which there's so much energy and positivity, and you can just see the culture that's come alive in that school. So it was really great to see their presentation, and we look forward to seeing them in action. So more to come from them. And then finally, I just want to congratulate the Doug Sears Learning Center as they have completed their WASC process earlier. And we just got notification that they did receive a 6-year term with a 1-year revisit, which is the highest term you can get. As of yet, as of late. And I just wanted to mention that there's so much that goes into the accreditation process at all of our schools, and it really takes that team approach that you were all mentioning of everybody in that school coming together to make sure that you are progressing those programs and you're really addressing student learning and achievement. And so to that end, I just congratulate the Doug Sears staff and their team for putting that together.
Great, thank you, Kim. Moving on to written communication. Does anybody have a written communication? I'll just share a brief follow-up to the letters I received at the last meeting from 9 students at Oak Avenue. I had some help with Mike Williams from Monica's team at Ed Services with some responses to them. And I did actually exchange a letter as well with Becky French, who's the teacher, and she told me that the kids really enjoyed hearing back from us what we had to say. And I guess it was kind of a novelty to receive a written letter. So anyway, but that all went well, so good news there. Okay, with that, we are on to the discussion information portion of our agenda. Just one item tonight, discussion of low performing student bulk grant. Dr. Mecklitz.
So before you, you have a recommendation to approve the low performing students block grant for 18-19 through 2020 to 21. So it is provided by Ed Code 41570, Section D, and is to provide funding to LEA serving students identified as low performing on state ELA and math assessment. Currently, we have 2% of our student population that falls under this, which is about 99 students. So they granted us a block grant. It is not a matching funds grant. It's no fiscal impact to the district. But it is focused on professional development for certificated staff, instructional materials, and additional supports for pupils. But the bulk of it is for PD, and it comes at a crucial time because we are updating our curriculum to reflect the state standards. So we will start our training in the spring and carry through the summer and repeat it until we are updated and current. So it can at a good time.
Great. So you'll be coming back to us with the request of the
I have actually attached the ed code for you, that authorizes the grant, explains the grant, and the grant, rough draft was due. It's a very limited, they limited to 1,000 words, so it's very general. So it is in your packet under 18. It asks how we will use the services or the funds, how we will measure them, and how we align it to our LCAP plan. So the first one is basically we will use it for PD for certificated staff in the areas of ELA and math, standards-based instruction. And we will focus on effective teaching strategies as well as interventions within the school day as well as outside the school day. How the evidence-based measures will be used, it's our ELA and math iReady assessments. We'll provide the interim, and then at the end, it will be our smarter balance and CAST assessments. And then it will be part of our local control and accountability plan moving forward for the next 3 years, and it will say how we will use that money specifically. But right now, it is focused on PD for teachers, which is the intent of the grant.
Great, thanks, Monica. Any other comments or questions?
Do we know if this is an ongoing funding from the state?
It is a 3-year funding.
It is not decided if it's ongoing or not. So this is the first round of it. And in 3 years, there'll probably be some discussion on whether to continue it or not. But it's based on the number of students you have, so that'll falling below the mark. So ours is 2%, so our amount is under 200,000.
Is this equivalent to the federal Title I?
No, our Title I is less.
Ken, you have a question?
Yeah. Is this, do we need any general funds to support this? It
There's
stands alone.
no required match.
Okay, so it stands alone.
All right, great, thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're now moving on to the discussion and action portion of our agenda, starting with the administration. We have actually 2 resolutions to approve. The first calls for a motion to approve Resolution 1819-12, proclaiming March as Arts Education Month. May I have a motion to approve, please? Motion from Member
Second.
Nolenberg and a second from Member Georgino. Comments or questions? No? Okay, I will go ahead and call for the vote, and it's a roll call vote. Member Marston?
Yes.
Member Nolenberg?
Yes.
Member Lynn?
Yes.
Member Georgino?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so it carries 5-0. Moving on to item 20, calls for a motion to approve Resolution 1819-13, full and fair funding of California's public schools. May I have a motion to approve and second, please?
I'd like to make the motion.
Motion from Member Lynn and a second from Member Smith.
I'll second. No, go ahead.
Comments or questions on this? Ken?
I just don't think we as a board should be doing anything for it. So I'm thanking for voting on this.
Okay.
Well, I'll just mention that CSBA recommends this.
They recommend a whole bunch of stuff, and they recommended it over the years too. So it doesn't make any difference to me. I just don't think it's a slippery slope. Once we start endorsing stuff for political reasons, we're stuck with a whole bunch of other potential problems that other people will come up with that we may have to address.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. Member Marston?
Yes.
Member Nolenberg, I'm going to put you down as a no. Member Lynn?
Yes.
Member Georgino?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so the motion carries 4-0 and 1 abstention. Moving on to the next item on our agenda for business services, item 21. It's to receive for first reading board policy and an administrative reg. They're both 3515 regarding campus security, and there's actually no action required other than to note that we received it for first reading as is stipulated by our bylaws and ed code. But I do have a couple of speakers that want to come up. Jeff Garner, would you like to speak?
Good evening. On September 11, 2018, I submitted a Williams complaint to the district regarding the unauthorized illegal access and use of video surveillance footage from Emperor School. Footage from one of the video cameras from Emperor was retrieved by remote access, then posted on the internet on a website called TC Families for Truth. The video showed me serving a notice of intent to recall a board member. An Emperor student was captured in the video and all but named. An Oak Middle School student noticed from the website that the video was stamped Emperor Camera 15 Remote Access, which means the video was retrieved from a surveillance camera. My intent isn't to drag the district through another mess or controversy, but to make sure that a breach of security like this does not happen again. About a week or so after submitting a complaint, I met with Mr. Robert French and Mr. Richard Tower and to discuss my complaint. They told me they would conduct an investigation. And on November 1st, I met with them again to hear the results of that investigation. They told me they had found who was responsible and progressive discipline was applied. Shockingly, I also found out the district had no policy whatsoever on access to the surveillance camera footage. They assured me that a comprehensive policy would be drafted and placed on board agenda for evaluation and approval. Remember, this was November 1st, it's now February, and it's just now being brought to the board. At the time, I felt progressive discipline was a bit of a slap on the wrist, and for such a, something that seemed illegal to me, but I grudgingly accepted the progressive discipline because we're currently in the search for the new superintendent, and there was already enough chaos in the district, and I didn't want to increase that chaos. Toward the end of January, I was made aware that it had been reported that there were no Williams complaints and that there was no new or revised policy brought to the board yet. Sorry. So now 3 months later, it's just now coming up after me addressing it again. This doesn't tell me that there was any urgency in finding a remedy to the problem. This video was also up on the website as of last week. Again, if there was sufficient punishment or discipline, I would think that they would have removed the video. I know the district had no control over the website, but it just, all of this combined makes me feel that it was not treated with any urgency. I emailed Mr. French about my review and concerns on January 25th and received a response from Ms. Makiewicz. I met with her last week on Thursday, and during our discussion I learned that it was multiple people that were involved. Should also note that it was still up that morning. She told me she would try and get them to take it down, which within a few days it was taken down. I do believe that Ms. Makiewicz does have urgency in the matter and is genuinely trying to address it. Why did it take the district so long to take care of this? I just don't understand. As far as the complaint not being reported, there were no complaints. I learned that the attorney for the district and Mr. Tower decided it did not fall under a Williams complaint because it was not dealing with facility condition. But how is security not a facility condition? That's for other people to decide.
I'm gonna need to ask you to wrap.
Okay, so anyway, I urge the board to look into the matter thoroughly and make sure that it was handled appropriately, people receive the appropriate discipline, and to do your utmost to make sure that the risk of something like this happening again is minimized to the greatest extent possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Rachel, you had a comment you wanted to share?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, board. I'm not as genuinely as nice as Mr. Gardner, so I'll be very straightforward. Why would any employer take progressive discipline for employee or employees that violate and break the law? There's a twofold problem in this situation. The video showed a board member and a student. The fact of the matter is, a board member is an elected official. So, to Mr. Marston's defense, which most of you would know that I usually am going up against him on issues, this should have been an outside investigation by law enforcement. By not doing that, it either looks like there was a cover-up in the school district to protect the employees and or board members involved, making Mr. Marston look like he was involved, or there was a flat-out denial of liability. But by choosing to do progressive discipline, the school district now has a twofold liability. You have a video that's been up there. You have a video that has now come down because we have employees that engaged in illegal activity, if I'm not mistaken, to quote Mr. Nolenberg, for political activity, which is clearly illegal for public servants. So my question to you is, why would you even entertain progressive discipline? These issues coming up now, I feel, are being brought forth after Mr. Gardner asked about his complaint. The statute of limitations has not run out, and Mr. Marston's position, he should want to know who put this video out, because either he had nothing to do with it and his name needs to be cleared because it doesn't look appropriate that he's in this video, or there was some other type of board member collaboration. So I am asking you tonight, you need to turn this over to the sheriff's department. There was a criminal act. At no point in time should this have been handled by an interim superintendent or by your internal legal counsel, knowing that there was already problems in the district. The statute of limitations has not run out. This is a violation. It is a security breach. It is a Williams Act complaint, but more so, you've exploited a student who also happens to be a board member's child, and it's been all over the internet. So I am asking you, when you are looking at this policy, that the intent of anybody violating the law should be prosecuted. No employer should take that liability of progressive discipline. So please contact the sheriff's department. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so we're not going to take any action on item 21 other than to note that it's been received for first reading. Okay, moving on to item 22, educational services, calls for a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the University of Southern California, Suzanne Dvorak, Peck School of Social Work, and Temple City Unified School District. You have a motion to approve, please? Motion from member Nolenberg and a second from?
I'll second.
Member Georgino. Is there any presentation or information other than what's in the packet?
If you have any questions, we can answer them for you, Sarah or I.
I think so. Anybody have any questions?
Just, I think we should speed this up, get more contracts, because there was a favorable article in the Wall Street Journal this Monday about this very same thing. And this helps the costs to the parents and helps the student prepare for college. And the chances of graduating are greater if they enroll in one of these programs.
I actually have one question. The effective date, as noted in the contract, is November 14th. It's been signed off by USC employees on the 19th of November and the 5th of November, and we have not signed it yet. So is the effective date really November 14th? Or?
I did ask USC about that, so they apologized for not sending it to us until later after they had signed it. They said that we can't go backwards, so they were okay with leaving the date November 14th, and then we just extended the ending date until 2020. So if it's okay with you, we can leave it effective. The social work interns will not go into place until the fall. And we're working throughout the spring to do interviews and selecting the interns that will be in place. and then they would begin service in the fall.
Okay, great. Any other comments? Elaine, you have something to say?
So these students that would be coming in, the ones at the high school, would they have anything to do with the peer listeners program at the high school, which is a student-to-student peer group? So would that be replacing or overpowering that by any chance?
No, it would be two separate programs. So the peer mediation program and the peer listening program that you have at the high school is a great program. We want that to continue. And then the social work interns will just work to support the mental health services that are offered to students.
Thank you.
Okay, no other comments or questions, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. So now we're moving on to the consent portion of our agenda, which includes routine items approved by one motion and one vote, unless a member of the board or the audience requests that any of the items be reviewed and voted upon separately. May I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll move.
Okay, we have a motion from Member Georgino and a second from Member Miller. And Mrs. Silver, you wanted to comment about this as well?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to bring to your attention item 87 for Pep Boys, 11 cents. That doesn't seem correct, or maybe I'm crazy, but 11 cents purchase order item for Pep Boys. I don't really know what you can get for 11 cents, but I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention because it doesn't seem like the accounting is correct on that.
So I don't think you're talking about item 23.
I'm sorry, it's on the consent agenda. The budget.
27.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay, Matt, I'm up here.
I'm just, I was
Yeah,
looking
you're
for it,
right.
that's why, okay.
You're right. I didn't look at it when I wrote down the number, so.
Any other,
No, just that, just to bring your attention to it, 11 cents.
item 11 you said?
Item
No.
87, page 3 of 8.
So can we check that out to confirm it's correct? Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions from the board? No? I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, the motion carries 5-0. With that, we're on to board request comments. Anybody have anything they want to add? Ken?
I'd just like to see us discuss Old Creek facilities plan, or lack of plan, or where we're gonna go ahead and give directions what we're doing with the facilities, with our computers one-to-one, whether it's teachers, students, or whether we're going to the cloud, how we're doing it, how much money we're gonna put towards it, et cetera. That's a major one.
All right. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've communicated this to our superintendent regarding the base funding coalition that some of the surrounding school districts are involved with, and maybe we can look into it, how much it's going to cost us, and what is the cost-benefit analysis. So I think we are very close to base funding, very little supplemental compared to the other school districts.
Also, I'd like us to discuss the chances of funding the Mission Playhouse portion, half of the portion of the cost for that. It's something, and get the actual cost numbers from whoever has them, so that we start from a point of knowing exactly what the facts are.
Thank you. Then with regard to future agenda items, specifically, we are going to be discussing the OPEB, at our next board meeting on February 27th. And I know that they're working on foreign language, and we'll cover that in the not too distant future. And I think we have a couple more we added tonight. So with that, I'll go ahead and call for a motion to adjourn unless anybody has one last comment. Okay, I'll go ahead and call for a motion to adjourn in a second. I didn't hear it. Second. I'm sorry, I wasn't making the motion. No.
I'll make the motion.
Member Marston is the motion, and Member Lynn is the second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay,